So to kick this off, we're heading into the world of aluminum with Hydro Building Systems, a world leader in extruded solutions. Yesterday we did a little rehearsal and I asked if anyone knew what extrusion meant. No one answered, so I've looked up the definition and I'll read it to you. An extruded product is a product manufactured by a process called extrusion, which involves forcing a material through a kind of mold or an opening to give it a specific shape. This process is widely used in industries such as food, plastics, and metallurgy and pharmaceuticals, and I hope that Lise, who's watching us, will agree with this definition. So hello to Lise Cavalec, who's a project manager on the Hydro side and who's with us remotely, and Joëlle Perret, who's Calia project manager, who is here on set. Hello to you both. You can talk to us about Hydro, and in particular, this issue of how to orchestrate the content of a multi-brand, multi-country, and multi-team website, because that's a lot of constraints. So, Lisa, over to you. Hello, yes, so I'll introduce myself. I work in digital project management and user experience optimization. Previously, I worked in e-commerce, generally in international environments. Today, I'm a digital project manager at Hydro Building Systems, as you said, and I'm leading the redesign of the website for 4 brands in a multi-country, multi-language, and multi-team context. And for those who don't know, Hydro Building System is an extrusion system, and it's part of the Norske Hydro Group that specializes in aluminum joinery solutions for the construction industry. So we distribute several brands globally, including Technol, Sapa, Domal, and Vacona, which are the brands I'm going to talk to you about today. So we rely heavily on digital technology to connect our brands, our partners, our clients, who are specialists in aluminum. And in this digital ecosystem, we have to adapt for many realities, for languages and different variations. And we also have messages that unite the brand, and we want to communicate consistently and coherently on a global scale. And it's within this context, the context of optimization and overhaul of the ecosystem, that we contacted Calliope to help us. So I'm delighted to be with you, with Lisa, to share this wonderful experience of collaboration that we've had now for a little over 2 years with the partnership of Calliope, Hydro Building System, and Contentful. I'm Joëlle Perret. I joined Calliope in 2020 as a project manager, and before that, I spent 20 years working for software publishers in retail and healthcare sectors, having many different roles. I was a quality manager for quite some time. Then I moved into agile methods, became an agile master and project management. With the arrival of the Hydro Building System project, I kind of seized the opportunity to explore a new CMS because I had worked on other CMS projects previously at Calliope. And like everyone in the office, I quickly jumped at the chance to discover the world of Contentful. And I also took on the role of product owner and a proxy owner with Lise to work on the SMS in more depth and see how we could adapt complex features in this new environment. And above all, how to overcome the difficulties that they were experiencing with their old CMS. So, little background on the old Hydro Building System infrastructure. Lisa said it, but she'll talk about it in more detail. They have 4 distinct brands with multiple locations, and they were based on 4 different licenses for their CMS. And as you can imagine, in Monolith, all of that part diverged over time with specific requests coming from their premises, tools that were integrated in different instances and different moments and over time, and so the maintenance costs had become significant. There were also quite a few regressions following the delivery of new features, and the deadlines were more difficult to meet, and that caused a lot of frustration for the contributors. They needed a partner who could help them find a new tool, but also support them and accompany them in creating this new domain structure. So I think it's important to spend a little bit of time, as we'll see on the next slide, to explain what the challenges of the project were.
Oui, donc avec nos
So
4 marques,
with our 4
forcément,
brands,
on avait, certains enjeux et
inevitably we
des
had
défis,
issues
face
and
à cette diversité,
challenges to deal with this
notamment
diversity,
la optimisation
and
des ressources.
particular resource
On maintenait
optimization.
plusieurs,
We were
outils
maintaining
back-office,
several back-office
éparpillés,
tools
selon les marques,
scattered
les pays, et donc
across
c'est
the
vite
brands and
chronophage et
countries,
ça a un coût.
which was really time-consuming
Il
and
fallait aussi
costly.
accélérer,
We
le
also
time
needed
to
to speed
market.
up time to
Quand on voulait
market
lancer un
when you
nouveau
want to
contenu,
launch a new content
une campagne,
or a
pardon,
campaign.
et il fallait passer par
We had
des
to go
multiples
through
validations,
multiple
des traductions,
validations,
certaines
translations,
constructions un peu manuelles.
creating
Donc
a
on
slightly
cherchait vraiment
manual
à raccourcir
construction. So
ce
we really
cycle.
were trying to shorten this cycle.
Après, il y avait effectivement
And then there
améliorer
was, of
l'expérience
course, an
utilisateur et
improved
la
user
conversion
experience
pour
and
offrir une
conversion
vraie qualité
that offered a
d'expérience
real high
et ne pas
quality
avoir des contenus
experience, and the
dispersés,
content was no longer
mal
scattered
structurés,
or
qui
poorly
perdaient
structured,
en clarté.
and it became
C'était
much more
difficile de
clear.
guider en fait
It was difficult
l'utilisateur
to
et de
guide the
tester de notre
user
côté des
and, let's
parcours,
say, test
d'optimiser
the
les
user
conversions.
journey on our side and to
Et avec ça,
optimize
on voulait donc
conversions.
assurer
So we
cette
wanted
cohérence
to
de marque,
ensure
la
brand
force de marque,
consistency and
sans écart de
coherency,
design,
brand
de
strength
ton ou
without
de message entre les sites.
having any discrepancies in design,
Ensuite,
tone,
il
or
fallait aussi
messaging
gérer la
between sites.
complexité, donc
We also had to
multi-pays,
manage the
multi-marques,
complexity of being
ne pas
multi-country,
tomber
multi-brand.
dans
We didn't want it to be
l'uniformisation totale,
entirely
donc chaque marché
standardized.
a des
So
réalités.
each market has its own
Et,
realities.
et on voulait une solution qui
And we
permette
wanted
de
a
gérer toutes ces
solution that would
variantes,
allow us to
garder
manage
une
all these
structure cohérente.
variations, creating a coherent
Et
structure,
ensuite, connecter
and
notre
connected
écosystème
to our
digital, donc
digital
l'intégration de
ecosystem,
l'existant.
meaning
On a déjà
integrate what
pas
already
mal de choses
existed.
derrière nous,
We
un
already had
CRM,
quite
un
a
DAM,
lot of stuff we
d'autres
created,
outils
CRM,
métiers.
DAM, other
Et
business
on voulait pas que le
tools.
site reste
And
de
we
son côté un
didn't
silo.
want the site to be a
Et
kind
on
of
voulait créer
silo.
cette
We wanted to
continuité dans
create a
l'expérience qui
continuity in
n'existait
the
pas forcément, qui
experience
était un
that
peu difficile.
hadn't existed before, and that was
Et
a bit of
donc
a
de ces
challenge.
constats,
So based on these
on avait en
observations and
tête
needs,
3
we
piliers, un CMS,
determined
il nous
3
faut un CMS
pillars. We need
flexible
a
et
flexible
scalable,
and scalable
un
CMS,
design système
a
transversal qu'on a
cross-functional
commencé à
design
construire,
system that we began
et aussi
building,
une gouvernance
and
de
also
contenu.
content governance.
Et c'est Contentful là-dessus,
And
c'est vraiment imposé comme
Contentful
la réponse à
was
ces
really
enjeux
the answer to these
pour unifier la
challenges,
plateforme,
to
déployer
unify the
un
platform,
CMS,
deploy a
connecté
CMS
avec
that's
nos outils
connected
existants, donc, comme je
to
l'ai mentionné,
our existing
et nous
tools,
permettre
allowing
d'implémenter
us
notre nouveau
to
design system
implement
en
our new
respectant
design
les
system, all the while
spécificités de nos 4
respecting the
marques.
specificities of our 4 brands,
Et ainsi que mettre en
and of
place
course, at
donc,
the
la
same time,
gouvernance
the
dont j'ai
governance I
parlé.
was speaking about.
Donc, oui, je laisse
So
Joëlle.
I'll hand over to Joelle.
Effectivement, on va revenir sur les
So we're going to
points
come
qui
back
ont
to
porté,
some of the points
l'intérêt vers Contentful.
that drew
Gilles en a
attention to
déjà
Contentful.
parlé,
Gilles
beaucoup, et
spoke about it at length,
Contentful, qu'on a
and the
vu
Contentful
précédemment.
team that we
Mais,
saw earlier.
voilà, il y en a 6 qui ont été
There are
retenus
6
côté,
that were
hydro-build
selected for the
system. Le
hydro-build
premier,
system. The
on
first,
le sait, c'est l'API First
as we
Headless,
know, it's the PI First List
qui a permis
CMS,
d'imaginer une
which
plateforme
allowed us to
modulaire,
imagine a
adaptable
modular
et,
platform
qui
that was
permet de
adaptable
s'interfacer avec les
and could
différents,
interface
outils,
with
qui
various
gravitent autour,
tools that revolve
du CMS
around
également.
the CMS.
Et en deuxième point, la solution
Secondly,
SaaS,
the
qui est facilement
SaaS
intégrable
solution,
dans
which
les
is easily
environnements
integrated
cloud,
into
notamment
cloud
chez
environments.
Hydro-Build System, nous
At
sommes
Hydro-Build
Azure.
System, we're using Azure.
Le SaaS, ça permet
The
bien sûr d'avoir
SaaS
toujours les mises à
means that
jour, prêtes,
updates are always
les
ready,
dernières, et,
the
d'avoir
latest
une
updates,
surveillance accrue
and
sur
that we
les
have
sites.
increased monitoring
Le
of the
deuxième
sites.
point, c'est,
The
sa
second point
particularité
is
à
how
l'échelle
unique
mondiale.
it is at the global
Ça, on
scale.
l'a bien vu dans les
It
premières
was
présentations.
clear in
Chez
the
Hydro-Build
initial
System,
presentations at
effectivement,
Hydro-Build
on a 4
Systems.
marques à
We
gérer,
have 4
plus
brands to
de
manage, more than 27 sites and different types for private individuals, professionals, and we need to be able to pool content and avoid any duplication. And finally, the last point that I'm going to speak about is the speed of contribution. It's rather visual, it's quite visual. We have everything on your screen all at once. It's fairly easy to find your way around, and contributors can quickly get to grips with this tool. I'll allow Lise to continue.
Alors comme j'en ai parlé,
yes, as I was saying,
on avait des outils à
we had
connecter,
some tools to connect.
Brainmaster, qui est notre DAM,
Brainmaster, for example, which is our DAM and our CRM. So it's important for us to be able to
traquer nos leads.
Track our leads.
Ensuite,
then
on avait donc, des...
Contentful could provide some very interesting features, particularly for facilitating contribution and the experience of editors who are people from different teams and not all specialized in managing a CMS. So we could customize this back office and have these features that facilitated contribution in every country. Sorry, my last point, I'm just getting to it.
Désolée, je l'ai plus en tête.
Plutôt dans l'avenir sur le composer
about the future and composer launch.
Oui, donc oui, par la suite, on nous a présenté.
So afterwards, we were shown tools that go even further to make it easier in-house to contribute and edit our sites, and notably to compose launch, which could be really interesting in the future if we want to go even faster in terms of contribution.
Merci.
Thank you.
Alors là, on va vous montrer
I think
concrètement ce que ça
I'll
donne
show
sur le
you
site.
a little
On a
bit
préparé une
what
petite
it looks
vidéo,
like on the
et
website. We
on va
prepared a short
pouvoir vous
video,
montrer autour
and
pour
we'll
vous
talk
expliquer
a
comment
little
on a
bit
construit
about it to
le
explain
projet.
how we
Moi,
built
je
the
voulais
project.
souligner quand même avant
I just want to point out
que,
beforehand,
bon, il y a un outil qui est en
there's a
place, il y a
tool
un
in
CMS,
place, there's a
mais c'est
CMS,
aussi parce
but
que
it's
avec Contentful,
also
Calliope travaille depuis
using
quelques
Contentful.
temps.
Calliope has been
On avait
working
déjà
with
monté
them for
des
some time, and
projets
we've already set
d'une
up
certaine envergure
some fairly
en partenariat avec
large-scale
eux, et on
projects
avait
in
confiance en
partnership
ce
with them,
partenaire. Je pense que
and
c'est
we
important
really
de le
trust this
souligner.
partner, and I think
Et
it's
il y a
important to
vraiment une
emphasize
confiance
that
tripartite qui
because
s'est
there's a three-way
instaurée
trust that's been
entre
established
Contentful,
between
Hydro-Building
Contentful,
System et
Hydro
Calliope,
Build
ce qui a
Systems,
permis
and
vraiment
Calliope, which has really
d'avancer
allowed
sur
us to
le
move
projet.
forward with the project.
Voilà, je tenais à préciser qu'il y a
It was
aussi des
important to
équipes
me to
autour
point
des
that out, that there are all these
outils qui amènent
teams
leur
working with
expérience
the
et qui
tools who are
permettent que
sharing
ces
their
projets-là
experience and bring their
se
experience to the
construisent
table
facilement.
and allow these projects to be built
Alors, la
correctly.
petite vidéo,
So the short video,
je laisse Lise commencer sur
Lise
les
will
premières
do the
parties,
first
parce qu'on est plus
parts
sur du visuel.
because it's more visual.
Oui, donc pour visualiser
So
un
yeah,
peu
to
ces quatre
visualize
identités de
these
marque,
four brand
dans notre
identities in
nouveau
our
design system,
new design
donc
system,
on l'a décliné
we've
pour avoir
broken
comme
them
vous disiez, une
down
cohérence, mais
to
à la
create
fois
a
garder leurs
coherency and
identités de
consistency
marque,
while retaining their brand
de
identities,
couleurs et de messages également.
colors, and
Et donc,
messages.
à partir de ça,
With that in
on a vraiment
mind,
pu dans le
we were
back-office
able
aussi
in
décliner
the back office
ces
to
marques et faciliter cette
adapt these
contribution.
brands and facilitate the
dans le site.
contribution to the website.
On peut voir donc
We
des
can see
homepages
customized
personnalisés
homepages,
comme on l'a pu voir, selon la marque, ils ont leur
depending on the
message,
brand, with
leur
their
promotion.
message and their
On peut
particular
vraiment, à
promotions.
partir d'un même back-office qui
From
est
the
simple à
same
utiliser,
back office, which is really
avoir
easy to
cette
use,
déclination
we have this
cette déclinaison d'identité.
variation of identity.
Donc on a pu aussi, vous le voyez
We
sur le
were
côté,
also
trier
able,
nos
as you can see
contenus,
on the side, to
pour
sort our
pouvoir,
content,
facilement trouver
to
à
easily
quoi correspond chaque
find
contenu.
what each piece of
Et
content
ici, on peut
corresponds
aussi
to.
importer directement
We can also
de notre
directly
outil qui existe
import
déjà,
from
donc
our
d'une
existing
banque
tool,
d'images,
which is
assez
an image
importante,
bank, a rather large
qu'on a
image
déjà,
bank, We have it, we know how to use it, and it's directly connected to the back office. So we can quickly access all these visuals directly in our Contentful back office and also publish it very quickly. Contributing is very easy. You just need to follow the Contentful diagram. That's also something we can work on with our developers to make contributing even easier. We're very satisfied. And let's say that the training was rather easy to do. Joelle, over to you. Yeah, so here on the screen, you see a small app. We made the choice to use Contentful because we were able to develop small apps to facilitate contribution with small flags to easily disable content or a block of content in the page so that we don't always have to fall back and visually only see the content that is relevant to the page. That also allows the client or contributor to quickly find what they're looking for. We have a second app we did because there's a lot of blocks with pictures in the application. And having a list with file names wasn't necessarily the easiest way. So we set up something more visual, and it really helps with contributions, and contributors are much quicker for tasks that can be quite repetitive. And you can see the results on the website. We've got a little picture. And finally, I just wanted to talk about rights and access, because rights and access roles are quite simple to use in Contentful. Very quickly, you can determine access a role and add a rule to it. For example, here we want to prevent the editing of a field for a specific locale or site. We have a certain level, the type of content, the field itself, even on specific content, and we can go down to the local level, and this allows contributors to only view and contribute what concerns them. That's something I wanted to highlight. I don't know if we're going to talk about rights and access later, but I thought it was interesting to show a native feature of the tool. So we've seen what it looks like. It's been a little more than a year that we've been up and running on the B2C side. Lise, can you tell us if you've seen any benefits? And are you planning to use this tool more in the future? Yes, so onboarding for our internal teams, it took a little while to understand everything in Contentful, but once you get used to it, it's very simple. Once you've mastered the tool, and the time to market is much faster. We saw a threefold increase in conversion rates with 40% more leads generated for B2C sites. For the moment, we have B2C and B2B sites, and now we can see the results on B2C. We've optimized this conversion funnel in particular, and we're very satisfied with these results. Maintenance costs have also been reduced by 50% with fewer servers scattered around, and as we mentioned earlier, it's easier to implement and reach new markets by implementing new local versions quickly. So on a selected brand, after the entire B2C overhaul, we launched 2 new markets. The adoption and the use of the tool by the contributors happened fairly quickly, and I think that they're pretty satisfied. Today, we're working on a slightly broader project, going a step further with our B2B sites. which are direct clients, and deploying 26 new local sites with a slightly different design system because it affects different people, but it remains consistent with what we started on B2C. And finally, for the future, and this is already the case on these new sites, we're integrating new features and thinking about new features that will improve navigation and the user experience. So pretty positive conclusion on our feedback after the implementation of Contentful. I think it's a good foundation for our digital ecosystem and for sustainable growth for our brands and their digital evolution.
So thank you very much, both of you, for sharing this experience. Thank you to have played along and joined us remotely. We'll now move on to the second case, another big name, this time in the hotel industry, Accor, where the issue is a little bit different. The challenge was to develop a booking platform with a seamless user experience with multi-API platforms as well. But before we get into details, welcome to Benoît and Mathilde. They will tell us more. Benoît Salmon, delivery manager, type tech lead at Accor, and Mathilde Couston, lead developer at Calliope. Welcome, both of you. So, Benoît, if you'd like to introduce yourself first. Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here with you. Okay, everything is working. Perfect. So thank you. Happy to be on the set with you. It's very impressive with all these lights. And coming in here, I told myself it would be nice to do it in a hotel, but maybe for the next time. Accor is as well capable of hosting this type of events. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Benoît Salmon. I'm with Accor for 10 years, working on various projects in loyalty department for the first 6 years, and then in the creation of the digital factory at Accor. I joined the hotel service team to promote products that our hotels offer and help them promote their services. All of this is to facilitate digital technology in hotels. In particular, we'll tell you the story of our website, spa.accor.com. This focus on wellness and on this activity that is being expanded by Accor, the part of wellness business plan. And so the hotel services are really promoted. We as well have responsibility in our teams that work with catering and bar to see how we can digitalize the client experience in these activities beyond just booking a room. And there are also digital services that connect the hotel, the end customer, who will come and stay so that they can prepare their stay, have a good time with us, and leave with the best possible memories. So Accor, we know them, but could you give us some figures, some data that you would like to share? Yes, of course. I'm not going to go into details, but it's important to remember that Accor is an international brand, an international leader of augmented hospitality. I'll come back to this term later, but basically we offer traditional holiday packages for tourist activities, but also for the B2B sector. And then there's an area of our business that is perhaps less known, that's within the Accor group, which is lifestyle and experiential side. So that is what we're trying to focus on, and that what motivates us, and in particular that's the DNA of our team, is to promote besides booking rooms and hotels, it's also about restaurants, bars, spas, co-working, lifestyle, and leisure activities or entertainment activities that can be found in this brand Accor. So the hotel coverage is in eco, premium, mid-scale, and luxury and lifestyle business category, which is a group under the banner. So I've put a QR code on the slide so you can flash it with your phone. It's a campaign that we have launched several days ago with our new partnership with new ambassador Kylian Mbappé. So he's not very known, but he's rising. His star is just rising. So it's interesting to see, and this campaign illustrates precisely what we mean about enhancing hospitality. The campaign is called "Don't be the guest, be the guest star." And that's a bit for the background. And so here I'll hand over to Mathilde, who will introduce herself and expect the subject of spa.accor.com. So thank you. I'm Mathilde Couston. I'm a developer in Calliope, and more precisely, a lead developer on the wellness project. I started over 2 years ago on wellness as a simple developer, and I became a lead a little later, over a year ago. Just to go back what lead is, there are 3 key points from my point of view. So the team management, being able to distribute tasks, listening to everyone, supporting the project manager, managing problems if they arise. Obviously, there's a tech pillar, so I have experience to be able to set up the stack, make the text choices, and make architectural, but also during the projects to reduce technical depth, refactoring, providing visibility and assistance to other developers on the project and taking on more technical issues. And so obviously today I'm here with Benoît. There's as well a part that is an aspect which is supporting customers, where we're scoping phase, the roadmap, or of course helping to bring a gap, to close the gap between the technology and the customer's product with the needs, so that we can do our best possible for the job. So it is possible to have a little more context on this famous wellness project. Yes, the context is very simple. We have observed after COVID in Accor, where there was a desire of wellness that emerged after being locked down at home, doubting of our future. So there is a global desire to enjoy wellness activities, to get the best out of it, so wellness, as we call it in Accor. And we have seen that the figures in 2023 have shown increasing growth, and these increased 9% in 2023. And so inevitably, with a number of business figures and turnover to build upon. And so that is why Accor has launched itself into this area, particularly with a portfolio of hotels that offers the wellness activities, which is a solid foundation. So we have 700 hotels that can potentially provide these services. So our ambition is to finally become the #1 spa booking platform for our brand, Accor.com, to offer our customers simple treatment, to attract local customers who as well want to benefit from these treatments. So just not only those who will be staying at the hotel, but also to offer packages of treatments, packages with treatments that a client can access without being a guest at the hotel. So of course there are objectives that we set for ourselves. So it's also that our hotels could generate new additional income, participate in turnover, also attract local customers, as I've said, and increase the occupancy rate of our hotels and of this spa activity. And from the technical architecture point of view, there are objectives and ambitions that have been set to have a platform that is as seamless as possible. So to have 100% headless architecture based on our API, that is API first, to respect the standards of Accor, because Accor is a huge structure with the main website, which is all.accor.com, which drives all of the distribution of the traffic for the hotels. But there are standards that have been there for a while, and so they need to be respected. And so we also have a commitment from Calliope to comply with these standards, and that's to smoothen the path and to meet our ambition to use all of our APIs, and obviously the challenges that are associated with it, and the CMS Contentful. It's great. We'll be talking about APIs a little bit later. Can we see the front first? Yes, of course. We have prepared a little demonstration that will show you, that will retrace the experience of a client that would like to book a stay for one or several nights and integrate a treatment. So this is our main product, and as well we have a la carte treatments for for local clients, but this full package of a night in a hotel, to stay in a hotel, and the treatment is the key product of the platform. I would like to as well mention a little bit, obviously, Contentful and this so-called multi-API, and in the project Wellness that requires us to really connect the APIs, including Contentful, and have a fairly comprehensive set of data displayed for the user. On our listing page, that is a list of results, we really wanted the list to be as tailored as possible for the user. So we have different filters that allow us to choose the brand, the number of stars of the hotel, the type of treatment that it would like in that hotel. We also have filter options by price, for example, or of course a map that will allow you to locate themselves. So, for example, for locals, it's great to be able to find a treatment close to home. So even if it's not even if it's a hotel, you can still book it as a salon. And of course, we can get suggestions that allow you to see a little bit more what can be offered. The hotel page is where we find most information. We have all the APIs that we use in wellness, and they provide a bit of data, a bit of information to this page. We have different APIs, for example, the API catalog, which will provide us with photos and basic information on the hotel. Contentful allows us to include all the descriptions that you see on the screen, so we can add content that we don't really have in the APIs, which will allow the contributor to give details about the hotel. We have everything related to availability, where it's a card treatment, it's a la carte treatment, and a stay where API gives us all the availabilities, all the prices, and all that we need. And we as well have API Google My Business, which allows us to display the ratings and the reviews, and give users a little preview to what to expect in the hotel. And so once all of that has been seen, the customer chooses to book their stay, and so they end up on our booking page, which allows them to finalize the final details of their stay, to perhaps move the dates or add eligible children, choose different room types, because as we're in a hotel and not in a spa, we have the entire standard options available, different rooms, different rates, options, and this allows us to offer a complete stay with the treatment using this platform. Great, well, I want to book right off. Don't hesitate. No, we're really happy with the result, and the platform is really great in its graphic design and in its final realization. It's a great project that we have launched and it continues living today and thriving today. So you spoke of APIs. So can you please tell us how it is structured? What are the different APIs in Accor? Yeah, so this slide is my favorite one. This is my favorite part of the presentation because we're talking about the architecture. So it's both technical and functional, so we can understand the ecosystem in its whole, but you never know where to stop in this presentation, so we made some choices. So here they are. And so here I would like to present on the top right. It is the API part. The complexity of Accor is just in this corner, but you should know that there are hundreds of APIs behind it. Here we have the main ones used by the spa.accor.com. Besides, in particular, the catalog API, which is cold data, unlimited hotel data, photo statistics content entered by hotels and other contributors internally in Accor. There is an API cross-end wellness, which is our API that allows us to search in the back office of hotels and spas, because back offices can be different depending on the hotels, because hotels have tools as well that are used to manage, such as rates, planning, type of treatment. They're in the back office of the spas, and so we retrieve them from the so-called cross-end API. And then there are the API Accor classic APIs for booking stage, which review information from our CRS and the main booking system for all the rooms and the hotels in the group, and with their availability. And there's a last category of API, which is customer and loyalty API, which have an affiliated to the program of all.accor.com, which is the customer data, authentication, so the customer can log in and see their points and use them. So this is part about the Accor, and then we're going to go in detail about architecture of this project, and I'll hang over to the expert. So we can see that here we have the multi-API circle. We already have quite a lot in Accor part, and I've already mentioned Google My Business, which comes for ratings and reviews, and of course our CMS Contentful to finally complete everything and complete the final mold in spa.accor.com with all the data we would have for our APIs. So how do we capture all this data without it being too complex and then keeping the front optimized, fast, and user-friendly? So we have created a BFF, a back for front, which will be the building block between the front end and the APIs. I will focus only on the part of discussing data today. We obviously have providers which will allow us to retrieve the data from the APIs, so communicate with APIs, that is. Then we have the mappers, that is where things happen. The mapper will allow us, after retrieving all the data in different APIs within providers, to build, for example, for a hotel, the object hotel, one single object, with at the same time data from the catalog and Google My Business and the CMS, but in a single object that will allow the front end to call only one route, to have only one object, and therefore the information and find the information where it's needed. And of course, we're talking about APIs, so of course, authentication and managing everything related to tokens and API keys. Of course, keeping all of this data secure. For Accor and Google My Business APIs, we REST the protocol REST. So retrieve the data that is sent back to us and only pull from the CMS content. We can as well push. It's in very precise cases, but it can be done as well. We also use the everything that concerns optimization, which is the IMG which allows us to optimize images and send them to the front with the right size, the right format, whether it's for mobiles or for computers, and with the right image quality right away. And then we use, in order to optimize the release for cache, this allows us to stoke temporarily, store temporarily data we retrieve, so it's not overloading the APIs and thus reducing the number of calls. And finally, again, in the view of the optimization, we use OpenSearch for research, which will allow you, if you type, for example, Paris, after PAR, you will be suggested the word Paris and therefore propose results, the most probable, depending on your search. So it's optimized that search for all results in API, for example. And so how do we finally get to our front once all of that is done? Our front end, which, by the way, is Vutra Nuxtree 18N for translation. Well, we use GraphQL, what was mentioned in the beginning of the conference, that will allow us to reduce the API calls, because in fact we are going to ask for back only for data we need, and front will know exactly what's retrieved and what format, and it will really allow us to avoid overloading the network and keeping only what we need. So that's for our project that allows a lot of arrows from the right to the left, back and front. Okay, great. So we see the APIs, we see the back for fronts, and that helps to prepare the data for the front. But how does it actually look from the computer side? Could you present that, please? Yes, I have two little things I would like to present here that are really cool about wellness relating to Contentful. So first, for everything that is hotel, Joelle has shown you the apps that you can actually use. We have the same for wellness that will allow the contributors to enter the code, that is the RID code of the hotel, and it goes directly to the database of hotels to pre-fill some data about the hotel, and above all, not to fill in a hotel that doesn't exist, because there's the verification of the RID code, and this allows us to provide more security, obviously. And once we have some of that data, the computer can add different descriptions. We've seen them in the hotel page, and I wanted to show you some something a little bit more fun, if I could say so, on Contentful. We have a blog section that I haven't shown in the wealth section, and it's contributed entirely on Contentful. It's the strength of Contentful. It's that rich text part which allows the contributor to fill in a file as in a PDF, and that's the way it's going to display it in the front afterwards. So you have the list, the bold text, and the pictures, and so this is really visual and allows the contributor to know right away where they're putting it. So I'm coming back because I would like to talk about the contribution from the point of view of the marketing teams who run the site, especially when we're launching. So when you launch a project, there is a doubtful phase, because if it's a new complex tool that will take time to be adapted, well, then the business teams will be a bit hesitant to get involved in this kind of project. But the ease with which we can contribute and understand everything is really helped, and Contentful has really helped us, in particular on the project. And so the project continues working with this marketing campaign due to the fact that we can introduce content this way in a very easy way. So it's been 1 year, 1 year and a half, and so have you seen any changes? Any benefits? Yes, we already had an aging website, but that was driving business on its whole and activity. So we were able to compare the old website and the new one. So yes, for the top line perspective for hotels, it's driven additional business for 270%. It's in comparison with the previous version of the website. And then talking about the acceleration of time to market, because the business teams are independent in creating campaigns and so on. We don't have a call any technical teams or any experts, so this autonomy that is really valuable on the product itself. We have as well met the milestones that we committed to. So we have delivered this quite powerful, and the robustness of this platform in terms of performance and scalability, we are very satisfied with it. And more, we've been able to reuse on what has been made on the spa.accor.com for other projects. Another product that concern of Accor, that is bars, restaurants, which is a bit like the same model used in the Accor APIs, that is, which will come out in the beginning. It came out in the beginning of the year. And then there's also all-inclusive collections, which is another of our platforms and is based on the same model. So all of these sites came later using the same model provided with the Calliope team, who worked with my team to launch these high-quality products to work very well. So the objectives remain the same. However, to attract new customers, drive new businesses for our hotels, new revenue, in the source of revenue, we have to continue growing.
We'll be there for that, and I'd love to come to the spa with pleasure. Thank you both. Thank you, everyone, for this second part. It's always interesting to get into the specifics and see customer experiences with the solution we're talking about. It's really informative. So thank you very much. We're going to move on to the third part, where we'll go into more technical detail and hear from developers who will share their use and experiences with us. So see you in a moment for the third part.